Call meeting to order. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Roll call.
I hate having my back.
Mr. Caucus,
Here.
Mrs. Passio,
Here.
Mrs. Moore,
Here.
Mr. Farrell,
Here.
Mrs. Kelly,
Here.
Mr. Ruth,
Here.
Mr. Wood,
Here.
Mr. Bayshore,
Here.
and Mr. Wright.
Here.
Yeah, that's
Statement, public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act has been given to the clerk, by the clerk in the following manner. One, posted on the bulletin board in the Borough Clerk's office on January 6, 2014. And two, emailed to the retrospective Courier Post on January 6, 2014. New business discussion, okay. Public hearing for ordinance 14-20 summoned. The planning board would like one more month to read the 24 pages. Yes, so,
I think that's fair.
you know, I
There's a
thought,
lot of stuff in there.
if anybody looked at it, and, so they would like one more month. Is that okay, Joyce?
No, I actually did
It's
look
already
at
been
it.
advertised.
For public, oh, really?
Yes, now we would have to re-advertise it, correct? Len?
What do you think? What's it cost us to re-advertise?
I don't have it with me. If it-
Oh, it was made, oh, you put the whole
Put
ordinance
the
in.
whole thing in. Sure, she has to.
All right, well, here's what I'll do. I'll say to the planning board, if there's anything wrong with it, we can always amend it.
Sure, that's better.
Exactly right. You can do
There's
that.
a lot in that.
And bringing that up, well, I gotta remember to amend it. Okay. Residency for the police,
That's fine.
residency for the fire,
That's fine.
that's fine. I did speak to our prosecutor.
Why don't you just read it?
I'm going to, we had amended our ordinance that pertained to vacant cars. Does anybody remember that? I can't even remember.
I can't remember that.
So there was an ordinance that we amended that made it clearer about abandoned cars. The problem is, when we amended the ordinance, we took out part of the state statute which says you can charge $500 and a person could lose their license for 2 years. So
When did this happen? When?
I don't remember how we did
I
it.
don't remember.
I think it was before you guys.
So it was before us.
Oh, I think it's definitely before.
Yes.
I have no
I
recollection.
I have no recollection of it either.
So I think it's an amendment by council, but I think it's not this.
Okay.
No, I'll tell you why they took it out. Because, not why they took it out, why they amended it, and that's probably was a victim of it. There used to be a provision in there whereby people could, for 1 year, apply for a restoration permit. with the
Oh,
police
so they wanted that
department.
out.
And they put it in, it was in for a while, but people were abusing it because they were, quote, restoring,
Okay. So that was-
junkers were there.
That was just a way to keep the.
Correct.
So the prosecutor has pointed out that when the amendment happened, if you're saying it happened more than a year or 2 years ago, I can't remember. He would like that state statute put back in. So how would we go about doing it?
We have to amend it again?
I think we'd have to amend it, but could we do first reading and then by title only this month, and then get it on by December? Because we really can't carry things over into a new year. Is that correct, Glenn?
It's not that big of a deal, I don't think, is it? I mean, like, for us to do that.
No, it's a state statute.
Just do it.
You know,
It's something-
he said he would email us the language, I'll send it to you. It's Andrew Viola, so he just said
It's
that,
very good.
he just said that he's lost that 2-year threat.
Yeah, not a problem.
And it motivates people
So
to.
you'll do it by title only.
Okay.
I'll get the language to Joyce.
Could you look that one up, Joyce, the one, and
For vision cars.
yeah, and then we'll do title only.
Yeah. And let me know what the number is, Joyce, so when I do it for you, I can reference over it. Thanks.
And just to remind everyone, if you're going online to look at the ordinances that we've passed so far this year, when you go to the front of the page of the website, I looked today, and Joyce explained to me when I wasn't looking correctly, new ordinances are off to the left. So the stuff we passed this year doesn't get,
Well, not this year, just for like a quarter.
Or like a quarter.
Eventually, they end up in there after, they update it, I believe it's quarterly.
might be, so they're not in there. So if you want to say, hey, we passed this ordinance, where is it?
It's
You have to
under
look
new law.
under new,
New
which
law.
gets a little confusing. We have to make sure our zoning officer and everybody knows that. Resolution for resource officer, Triton, what is that?
Just what it sounds.
That's the agreement with Triton,
Oh.
our school resource officer.
Okay. Same amount of
We've done that
money?
in the last meeting, we're trying to, they said, why are you sending this? Because we normally wait till December, and send it in time.
What's that?
You never read that this was like, goes there on blah, 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 blah.
I did.
He doesn't have to do it
He
till
did.
council, I don't think.
No, I did already. You guys weren't paying attention. We can read back the tape. Okay, so this is not a, this is the contract. This is
Just
the,
the interlocal agreement.
it's the interlocal,
For
okay.
the officer in the school.
It's the interlocal. I apologize.
Same price.
It's the same.
Same price?
Same price as last year.
60,
90.
No,
90.
47 or 47.
Yeah, 90s. Resolution for Partners for Fish and Wildlife, I did read that. That was Mr. Root. You want to add anything to that? That was just, it was just, I think it was a positive. It
It's
helps
just
us.
a way to get in with some grants better. Whether we utilize fishing, wildlife, them actually planting anything or donating plants for the lake, I don't know. But it's just a good way that, he's a good reference to have if we have any questions, and a way to get grants.
He's at the partner, whatever. It looks like
Yes.
he's a partner.
Yeah.
Resolution HIP application.
That's the, we haven't had one of these in a very long time. This is the Camden County block grant. Residents can apply
Oh, we have.
to get work done on their homes if they meet the criteria, and we have one for someone in town.
We've already discussed that with them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And you don't,
Don't you have in front of your house?
No, we're talking about just somebody.
you don't
Somebody
have-
else?
You don't have to pay to sell your house.
There you
It could be 20 years.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
it's-
federal block grants that come out, the CDBG, it's very similar. One of the things they also do is the county administers money to help people fix their homes up, but there's very strict rules
Yes, there is.
on income and things like that, right?
There is.
The threshold
They
is
apply
very
to the
different.
county, but we have to approve it.
Yeah. Resolution in county and salt and sand, we do that every year, I think that's the
Yes,
best.
we do.
Right.
I'm trying to encourage them, but I don't know what the winter's gonna bring, but I definitely encourage them to try to
Be
mix
aggressive.
salt and sand and be aggressive with it. I mean, it helps even if the.
Even to purchase it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Resolution canceling taxes for total disabled vet, that's,
Another one.
we do. Resolution shared service agreement with county for recreation grant, is that the finalization of that 25,000? Is that the
Yeah,
end
we
of
did
it?
the chapter 159, we just forgot to do, we had the agreement with the shared services.
Okay. And that money, I hope, is
So this is
helping
for
to
the-
fix the building,
This is
right?
for the whole, the pole barn?
This is the building.
Yay.
And then there's raffle and bingo licenses for Holy Child Parish St. Teresa's School for 2015. I'm assuming that's no big deal. And then we have a couple walk-on things.
Yeah,
Ms.
Mark
Moore-
Bayshore gave
Oh, Mark
me
first?
a change order incorporating additional quantities into the contract to extend the project limits,
It was all
include the
emailed.
entire intersection of Washington Avenue and Plaza Place. So that'll go on for Wednesday. Meeting's on Wednesday, by the way, next time.
Yeah, because of the election, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. So everyone knows that's going to finish that.
Beverly wanted to.
Was there a payment you wanted also?
That was.
The Harry Williams.
Are we going to do the payment for the emergency generator? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay, the council meeting, emergency generator payment, we'll do that.
You have to talk about the money then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He said yes.
Well,
Thank you. Beverly wanted to talk about the Harry Williams building.
I just,
Yeah. We're tight.
I discussed it earlier with Rich too. I just think that it's something that we collectively as a group should think about trying to, if we're bonding for the items that we're doing throughout town. I mean, we've taken the money for the RY and it's a drastic improvement. I think that the money, we need to look into getting some money to upgrade the building. The building is ridiculous. I was in Triton for the play the other night and, you know what, just walking down to their gym, we should be embarrassed that our community center for our town looks the way it looks. When you look at their gym with the lighting and just the way that it's painted, that it's bright, not even talking about the floor. I mean, just the outside maintenance of the building, the roof is starting to rust. We have issues with the roof is continuing to leak in certain areas, which is, there's no reason to get the floor replaced at this point until we fix whatever is wrong with the roof. And you're aware of that. I mean, I think Maria had pointed out to you, Rich, that there were specific areas that the water still seems to be coming in. The fact that there are only 2 outlets in the entire gym, to me, is just ridiculous. I think it's an.
So you're saying like lights first. We
Yeah, I
talked
think
about
lighting
efficient
and
lights.
painting, and I think painting outside as well all
We
these
talked
things. And
bathrooms.
we're talking not having a public works department or having somebody do it. We're talking about hiring someone to come in and do it effectively and quickly, so that it doesn't drag on for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Well, I think that, between the buildings, engineerings, and
Yeah, I
Parks and
really think
Recs,
it's something
I
we
think
really
everyone will
need to-
support to spend some money, right? We're always using the building.
Yeah.
The lights aren't terrible.
It's pathetic.
It is
It is, it's
dim.
sad, it's very dim, like you go into other facilities and it should not be.
Okay.
Electrical work.
Well, that would be the
Electrical work.
2015
Yes.
monies, and as long
I
as
just
that
think it's
becomes,
something that we definitely need to collectively
And
move forward
upgrade
in.
the
So
electric,
many,
upgrade the
so many
electric.
things we've moved forward in improving just overall, and I think that this is a hub of so much activity, whether it's sports related. I mean, the freeholders come here and
Yeah.
it shouldn't look the way it looks.
well, I think that we've all talked about that borough properties need to look.
Absolutely.
So I think we have to get our own house in order first.
I agree.
From the front office, where you walk in the front office,
Yes, I agree.
out in the exterior of this property, all the little plots of land that we own throughout the town, it's amazing how many, pet mounds that we've learned.
Areas I didn't even know.
Little
belonged to
corners here
us,
and there.
belonged to us.
And then I agree, that building is being used.
All right, and since I've got the floor, I also want to just add one thing. You and I had spoken before, Nick, about benches. I have reached out to the Memorial Company, of course, contacted, I had the Memorial Company and got all the paperwork, she left, so now we're starting over again. I know that there definitely is interest in people wanting, I mean, we all know that Harvey Noble has also, he's expressed interest in buying. We saw a program you had shown me through Gloucester County that they're doing it as a package. It's like the bench, the pad, the garbage cans together, one price, and then it gets either dedicated or memorial of or in honor of with the plaque.
Yeah.
So I want to try to get a collective idea together, and I'm open to anything that anybody's got. I want to do this so that.
And maybe we look at where we'll put them, and that'll give us a number.
I think we should put them all along the pike, anywhere that we can put them. There's many bus stops that deserve to have a bench, or even just in public spaces. I mean, I'm in favor of the wooden ones because the cost is a little bit less, and then if the board gets screwed up, we found a better wood that doesn't have a tendency to twist so much. If it gets screwed up, we can replace it. It's an easier fix. And if somebody carves into a metal one, it's never quite right when it's done. Plus, they're like 1,000 degrees in the sun, sitting on the
Yeah, good point.
So, I just want to try to, if anybody's got any suggestions, any ideas of, or
I think when we do
see
it-
something somewhere, please, like, I'm open to it. I would like to try to move forward with it. I know that.
What's your goal, about 10?
I would say at least 10, and I think that we probably could charge about, I mean, I think I had estimated the cost between the bench and the sets of garbage cans and the concrete, which is, the concrete is the smallest amount of it, but just having the bench and then the plaque.
The labor on the concrete's a lot.
The concrete is, well, I mean, the department, Pat's been doing them,
Still a cost.
so it is a cost, but it's not horrific. I mean, they're able to get that pretty much done within a 2-day period. But if there were multiple ones that we needed to have done, then it would be worth hiring
In
somebody.
four several levels, yeah.
Right, 4 in one shot. I think it was around, it was just under $1,000. And I know that there have to be people that would be willing to do that. I mean,
Yeah,
I know,
that's
if
not
we
the
didn't
point.
look at it, I know Marino's would probably get on board with it. So, yeah, I think so. But just.
Well, next year, when we're talking about, I think Rich, he's non-committal on the amount of money we can bond next year. But, this is what we have to fight over.
Yeah.
And what money's gonna go where.
Not to say, but
No, please.
every topic that we're discussing about, I think has an immediate, meaning a quick fix operating thing, because if the window is broke, you need to fix the window, but you might need to replace the windows.
Correct.
You know what I mean, so everything has the quick fix that needs to be done for the operating budget this year.
Correct.
And our plan is to have our budget finalized by the end of this year. I mean, obviously, the new council will have to vote it next year.
Excuse me, the public, the public portion. Okay, when, we're on the public section, sorry.
So basically, we're going to be light years ahead of where we were in the past with our process, so, and this stuff because, is perfect, because it needs to be in the process, so that we plan for it, and all the ideas should be on the table. And if they get ranked and say, you know what, that's not likely this year, at least it's on the radar, so we know it needs to be addressed for a future year, so that we're not coming back halfway through the year and saying, well, this needs to be done too. So everyone's ideas should be coming forward, whether they're, notes in the mailbox or, a report or proposal, so.
That's it. Any suggestions for the building? Absolutely. I think everybody should be on board.
I reached out to Mark Martino on that roof,
Yes.
and I spoke to, who's speaking after somebody said, don't let him come unless it's raining.
least if
No, I
it's
said
there.
that. I
You
said
did, Rich.
do a day when you got to turn till down for it. I think
Yes.
you'll
So
find it
that's
real
it,
quick.
because
Yeah.
there are just, and that's what I mean, like, everyone talks about the floor, and there is no point in putting any money into that floor until we get that.
No,
measured.
sure.
I mean, there's daylight, if you're there on a sunny day, and you can see right through the crack of the building when the building comes together, there's daylight visible, and it shouldn't be that way. So, yeah, absolutely.
Well, speaking of floors, now that the side door is closed up, we can now get that floor fixed, correct? Well, it was really just a matter of cleaning it.
It's cleaning it, and it is on the agenda. I did speak to Nick about that. He said that they have to do that in an overnight. Are you talking about the lobby floor?
The lobby, but I think that one we might bring in a professional to do.
It's not on the agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We might bring a professional.
This, I'm being smart out, but.
Is that on the agenda?
Admin@runnemede.org.
Fine, I'll send you a new.
But I still think we should bring a
From
professional
the beginning, I
on.
said,
Yeah.
that it doesn't apply to the directors, and actually with what I'm seeing going on right now, so that we're all on the same page,
That's
so
fine.
that there's not misunderstanding between what one director said to somebody and another. I think that if everyone filters that through,
Not a problem.
I will make sure that it gets on a schedule. I can't promise it'll happen
No,
overnight.
no.
But this way, there's a track when you send it, there's a track when I assign it, and just what I've seen the past week and a half, it's,
It's necessary, is that what you're saying?
it is extremely necessary. Classic example, I'll bring it up later, but finish your report.
That's all, no, that was all, I just wanted, like, any suggestions for the building, anything besides the roof, for the floor, just even the minor details, it's all important to try to make it come collectively together. I mean, I never was in favor of painting above the block, but after going into Triton's, I think we are making a huge mistake if we don't hire somebody to come in and paint that entire upper part white.
To really make it right.
Make it
Yeah, that's what they did. They did a great
They did,
job.
and it looks awesome, and I think that in
Yeah, the regional did a great job with
the
lights.
investment
That
of
features,
bleachers
yeah.
that collapse to the wall, I mean, those are the things that we should have available
Yeah.
in that building, so.
If it's a gym.
Yeah, that's it.
What else? Mr.
Me?
Around the order, yeah.
Yes, please.
Oh, yeah.
Two things. Number one, last month, I brought up the purchase of the new car, because we did lose a car, and I said I would come to you again this month.
Right.
Any movement on that purchase of the Explorer?
At this point in time, as I explained last month, we are looking forward to it. Paul is doing his homework on prices and things of that nature. Until we have a funding source, we can't move forward with the purchase, and until we have transfers after this next week, the meeting, we couldn't put an order. But that's a capital item, and if we're going to go 4x4, then that would be an item for the November bond. So basically, it wouldn't be an operating purchase, because you'd be putting out, if you do it right and get all the equipment that the chief needs on the vehicle, you're talking about $35,000-$40,000.
33,700 something.
Right, so that would be a pretty big hit to the operating budget, especially if it's a capital item that can be amortized with the low interest rates we have over 5 years. And
So
I would
we'd go-
recommend that we group this year's and next year's purchase together, because if we're gonna do it, if there's two available, this is.
Yeah,
What
just to
about-
get
What
back.
about the money for the video cameras in the cars? We talked about that
That would
last
be,
month, too.
that would be a capital item for next year's budget. I support it, the chief supports it.
Are we required?
Not yet, but we wanna be a
Excuse
leader.
me, not at the time. There is legislation proposed, all cars bought in 2015 when they're ordered
So
will
2015.
have, it's not signed yet,
Right, it's
but it's
proposed.
coming in, but it's a great idea. And I don't think that, I think Mr. Wright brought up some with the road crew, and I agree, Mr. Wright, we put something on their car, their truck, GPS.
Yes,
You want that on the speeds?
You know what? I think you brought it up, and I think it'd be a good idea, because if somebody claims an officer speeding, you know, we can go right back to it and say, okay, at such a time, you were in this area, what were you doing X amount of it? I think it's a tool that we can use.
Okay, interesting.
And
I think
who
it's
would
very
monitor
important.
the GPS?
Well, the chief.
The GPS would
The
be monitored
chief
by
would-
me, and be monitored by Mr. Wright.
I would
Been
have
very
limited- I would have
effective.
limited access, the chief would have full access, because there's certain vehicles I would not want access to. So. But it's very important that we have a thorough training. I mean, the training that we had on with Public Works would not be sufficient for the police, because they
You're
need
going to
understand
see
what's in
time
there.
and time again, I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. You're going to see time and time again that speed will go up, down, up, down, up, down. But what we're trying to prevent is a citizen saying, the cops drive by at 40, and they don't put the windows down, they don't do anything. And we can go, okay, where you live, and type up, what car was it? All the cars are numbered. Ma'am, officer was doing 22. He's not doing 40 miles per hour, it's right here. GPS
been
doesn't lie.
Yeah.
Very good asset.
Well, getting back to the money, because I know that was a contentious issue last month. Just to make clear what Mr. Wright is saying is that in November, if we have money left over in some budgets and shortfalls in others, if you remember, we move money from one column to the other if it's within the percentages. Is that correct? The second thing that was brought up is the fact that at the beginning of the year, we put some bond money in to do the fire truck. What was the second thing we did? Was that the one we did at the beginning of the year? That was named the other thing we did. Earmark. So the bond idea is not a bad idea for some of these capital purchases instead of using our operating expense. And I think we've gotten a little more information since last month when we heard about the vehicles. Honestly, if we do move to this, we have the Tahoes, we have the Chargers, something in between. It's not a terrible idea to have a little bit of everything. And I think that we have a much better understanding about what's going on.
We agree. And to dovetail into that, because of the change in vehicles, the Crown Vics were a workhorse. They had decades worth of development into them that made them the car that they were. Everybody is really the new car. You have the Chargers out there, you have the Tahoes out there, you have the Interceptors at the.
Yes, I think it's the Explorer Interceptor with the
Right,
six-cylinder.
so that's like new. So I went back, I talked with Joe Ciano from Fleet Maintenance, Joe Ciano's superintendent, over in Belmar. While I was there, the chief of Brooklyn came in, he had his Interceptor. We were talking about that car, so we've had some conversations. So it wouldn't hurt us to have two of each and then do the math over the next few years and see which ones are holding up better, in our community. And again, the four-wheel drives, they're not like they were in the past. They're not like big giant trucks with monster tires. I mean, they're almost crossovers. I mean, they're more flexible for the police. With all the equipment we have.
And the cost wasn't that much
Yeah,
different. That was another issue. I think everyone thought that the cost was
the
much higher.
cages, the tactical weapons, so we spoke on that stuff too. So it makes sense to have the ability to have all of your equipment without being crammed into a vehicle. So we'll be looking to have that in the November bond.
Also, November bond, just to be clear, would be this month. It's not on the agenda. But the November bond, because the way it works, for everyone to understand, we have to finish our year up by December. Because in reality, new council comes in January. We can't have carryover business. Is that correct, Mr. Wood? Saying yes. So that's why we have to finish up and then start next year. So Mr. Wright said he will have it done in 1 week.
Go ahead, say it. I want to hear it. Come out.
I'm not saying anything.
Just because it's in there doesn't mean we're buying it,
I want to hear
Director.
it.
I will say that
I want to hear you say it.
buying new equipment does not guarantee anything.
Yeah, I want to hear you say
But
it.
I think that obviously the trash truck was a major purchase.
There we
And
go.
I think the police vehicles, and I think there was even a talk about even something to replace a fire vehicle. And then I think we do have enough money to finish up these, if there's any, monies for road, if we have a problem with, I think the engineer would be happy if there was some money left over, in case we have a problem in Washington. And Mike, I think it's okay. But Mike probably would use a real generic term, right? Any buildings, in case we have to finish up the rec room. Ms. Kelly, you were good with that? You had two EMTs on for also, that's going to be?
Yeah, I have those.
So we have two
I
EMTs
didn't get
that are going to be on the agenda.
Yeah, Fred just gave me the front cover, Kevin Early and Susan Brittany, Brittany Swan, it's very lengthy.
What was that, Brittany?
Brittany Swan. And Kevin, I think it's Erling,
E-A-R-L-Y?
I don't know, it's hard for me to read.
These would be
this
two
here.
part-time.
E-A-L-I-N-G, Ealing? E-A-R? I'm not sure, yeah. It's hard to read. It's a photocopy of the actual application.
Kevin Erling and Brittany Swan, and they'll be on resolution on next month,
Yes.
next week, part-time.
Is there anything else?
What about the lady that you?
I'll put that, well, we can go now, just to jump in, because Mrs. Kelly's on the committee with me. Joyce has found a part-time clerk to work in the front office. that meets the criteria that was needed, skills in accounting and tax collecting and things like that. This would be a part-time employee that would just come in from
10 to 2.
10 to 2. What would the title be? Isn't the account clerk?
Or, actually, Joyce, is that the one that we were using out there?
I
believe the civil service, civil
Part-time
service,
account.
civil service basically took everything that was tax clerk, assessing clerk, something
Right.
clerk, and made them all clerk one. So I'm 90% sure that that will cover what.
Correct.
So to be clear, this
Doesn't
person,
say part-time clerk one.
Mr. Wright is going to, we will have an agreement with this employee because obviously we want to do a good job distinguishing between full-time employees and part-time employees and what the difference is.
24 hours.
What's that?
We're going to be under 24 hours.
So we're under 24 hours. I think her rate would be a set rate of $15 an hour, with a maximum of only the 24 hours per week. Obviously, the only caveat would be if somebody went on vacation, we could bring this person in
At that
and work a full
whatever
day.
the rate
But remember,
was.
our full day is only 6 hours,
Right.
so it's only a couple more hours more. Is that correct, Teresa?
For the people that were grandfathered in, it was 6 hours.
She's an at-will, well, she's at-will in the sense that she has 30, 60, and 90-day reviews. Is she an at-will employee? At-will? No, she's not an at-will.
It's a hybrid.
It's a hybrid.
Yeah.
She has a probationary
For the
period.
first 6 months, it's a, I mean, you can do a temporary, I don't know what it's going to be set.
It's not a
I
temporary.
don't know what
It
was discussed.
was not discussed as a
You have a
temporary.
90-day, you have a 90-day review period under civil service. So you have 90 days to figure out how that employee's going to work in your
If
office.
Joyce can figure, she should be able to figure it out, I think, in 2 weeks.
3 months.
After that, it would be for cause.
Yeah. And cause means due diligence. But Ms. Kelly and I met with her, we thought she was very capable of doing the job, she was pleasant.
Yeah, good girl.
It was nice to hear someone, she had moved into, she actually is a resident of town, that's irony.
We like
It was irony, it really was, it wasn't a criteria, but it was nice to hear, and the fact that her and her husband moved into this community, that they wanted to live here, so it's very nice.
Because the
What's your time
taxes,
here?
because the taxes were low.
That's what she
That's
said.
exactly right.
She did say that.
We could afford the
Taxes for love.
taxes.
She was very happy.
That was nice to hear.
Somebody finally realized.
Yes.
Yeah. She's originally from Riverside.
She lives on
Riverton.
Third Avenue.
Riverton, excuse me.
Riverton.
What's that, near Delmar, like?
It's
Yeah,
by the
Exactly who she is.
Route 130.
Exactly who she is. I talked to her.
Young girl.
Yep, I talked
She
to
has
her.
a little baby, what, year and a half?
Yeah, I know.
Ms. Pasco, did you have anything?
Just then on Friday from 6 to 8, we'll be having our Halloween party for Runnemede residents, and also a costume contest, which will include infants to adults. So come on out and have some fun. And Paul, do you know if Chuck Burns is going to
I
be?
believe so. I gave him his email, and I'll make sure he contacts you this week.
Thank you.
And you'll have bike patrol on Mischief Night and on Halloween.
Awesome.
2 officers. They'll be split on the east side of town, west side of town, from, I think we did from 4 to 8 or 3 to 7.
Okay.
So you will have officers out there on bicycles, make sure that the kids are safe.
Well, the curfew,
Bike patrol has been so effective. I have had so many people come.
But
to
you'll
me.
have 2 officers out there on those 2 days. Just make
Great,
sure that
thank
the
you,
kids are
thank
safe.
you,
Good.
Mark. Great.
How's things been on the bike path?
They've been making substantial arrests.
Good.
and just a note for everyone, the school did reach out to us. The school changed it was no longer a half day for the elementary school. So I think our trick-or-treating was based on the fact that the kids were getting done early and going trick-or-treating. They're not this year. They reached out to us, we made an amendment to say that it's now from 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock is trick-or-treating. It was a little executive decision that was made to do that. We just sent out an email, and hopefully that helps everybody.
What happens to the people that go trick or treating?
The police will be out there to,
There's a cost.
Paul, are you going to
Zero
make the
tolerance.
arrest?
zero tolerance.
Make their candy.
They appear in front of Judge Straybox.
Use it for law enforcement purposes.
We have to do it. Sorry.
But we'll definitely, next year, if the school feels that this works for them, their hours, we will work with them and their hours to make sure that we're on the same.
Trick or treater violators, strapped with the tree all.
And also,
Stop
it should, yeah, it's a little later.
I think so
And I
too.
think that that's something we should discuss. I really do, because I think it's something that we should try to
No,
not.
it's people tricking. It's not too bad.
Well, 7 o'clock is a costume contest. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Couple on in.
My department, obviously, the most important thing is the bond next week, the new hiree for the office. Finance-wise, I think we're in pretty good shape. Hopefully, everybody has money in their budgets at the end of the year.
There are some people that are hurting right now.
Okay, that's okay, they
So
can hurt.
Somebody's over there waiting for,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the 7th to come.
Going down quick.
Mr. Brown?
Front doors, they're done,
Yes,
except
they look very nice.
they need some weather stripping around it. Side door needs some caulking. Washington Avenue's going great, curbs are in. Some sidewalks were needed, driveways.
Looking good, doors look great.
Is there a way we can do curbs and sidewalks so that people can fly over to land in there?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
With trees.
Just to let you know, sometimes it's very difficult to do these roads. It's inconvenient for residents. It's very difficult on us.
Temporary thing.
Yeah.
The chief, he actually, were you able to help that?
To make
I went
things
out
better.
there with a chauffeur, and I said, we will move your car for you, and move it back. And she continually yelled, and I said, well, we're here if you need us.
So we're trying to help everybody as much as we can.
I
Do
actually
we,
brought it off.
just one question, did we notify the residents?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, there's.
Yes.
Our one argument, the one
What
resident,
can we
was
do?
it wasn't long
Yeah.
enough of a notice, because in her particular case, she had a handicap van. And we tried as best we could to accommodate that. The chief tried to accommodate by moving the vehicle to the borough parking lot to help. Because obviously, we're trying to get the road work done as quickly as possible. But if you went down the road, it's looking good, it's looking nice.
And you cut the tree down.
Yeah, it's good. Mr.
No,
Root?
it was not happening.
I'm proud of it. Everything's.
Mr. Wright?
Wait, I have a question for Mr. Root. This fountain that we're gonna have installed
Yeah, you
in the
can,
lake,
you're leaving, okay.
why is it that we have to take it out and wear it?
Reason.
That's not true.
That's what
It
Black
does,
Lagoon
No, I'm just,
recommended.
I'm just asking, only because.
That's
I've
what
seen-
Black-
they
I've
have
never had
them
a fountain in my
No, no,
life.
I
I'm
agree,
just
they
saying,
stay.
They have them at Promenade, they have them at other.
Maybe it
places.
depends on the one you put in and the depth of the water.
That's all, I was just wondering, like, if there was like, is it other than we just,
Just on recommendation from Black Lagoon.
that's all, I just wondered.
They're so nice, water has a long way down.
And, well, and it doesn't fit on there.
And they're in there all winter long too.
Would you say?
They're in all winter long.
Yeah, I know. Even when they have snow.
It would just prevent
Even
you
then.
from being able to skate on the lake, which, you know,
Oh, maybe that's why.
well, that's what I would, I know we're not supposed to do that.
Mr. Wood?
And I'll be quick, I had a conversation today with the borough resident who has expressed some concern that he thinks that,
Talking that mic, say, make sure.
oh, I forgot that anonymous ordinance complaints are unfair. He has asked me to tell the council that he would like the council to consider a policy that would require individuals who are primarily residents to either come and do a complaint in writing or to identify themselves if they wanted to do it over the telephone. So I'm conveying that information to you as I said that I would do. Currently, we and every other community that I'm aware of accept anonymous tips. If there's a problem, your code officer becomes the person filing the complaint.
Right.
So if there is a complaint filed, you as the defendant have an opportunity to quote, confront your accuser, because the accuser is always us, our employee. It's not the person who said, I think there's a problem here, whatever, you know how that all works. So I've conveyed what I promised that I would convey to you. So should you choose to decide to take that policy, so be it. Should you choose not to have that policy, so be it.
Thank you.
Just the one concern is that I think our code enforcement is able to handle this, is frivolous complaints. And that's one of the issues, frivolous or retaliatory complaints. But I think Mr. Knight is more than capable to discern.
Well, that's the important part here. That was a big thing, but our code official needs to, and I think he does, but, and all people in that kind of scenario where they might be getting an anonymous tip, they got to use their common sense. And they got to prioritize what's important. There's water main break on Third Avenue, and there's some trash in front of some house on Fourth Avenue. That one's pretty, so, and a lot of times it's just that he or she goes and drives by and sees that it's nothing, and that's the end of it. Just because the tip comes in doesn't mean that our employee has to contact the homeowner or the property owner. The first task should be to ascertain whether or not there's any substance to it. And if there is no substance, it's done. And that's it, it never goes any further. I think sometimes people want to be helpful, or think they're being helpful when this happens, and then they communicate information maybe before they should, and it causes more upset than it's worth.
So I think what we can do is have a conversation with our code enforcement official and just say that that's our concern. I don't think, other than this council wants to change it, I think our policy of anonymous is okay, but I think we have to be concerned with false.
I don't think
I
that.
think usually that's where Keith makes that decision.
Yeah.
Keith makes that decision because. like,
Code
I
enforcement
was-
officials, I think he's right.
I'm right.
Code enforcement.
Code enforcement
He makes that
official,
decision
yes.
because.
He's pretty shrewd.
He is pretty good because I've had people complain to me and I've passed it to them and he has come back and said, it's nothing.
Was that all? Thank you. Mr. President, any more questions?
Nothing.
Thank you.
All right, and I won't see you next week, so.
Next Wednesday.
No, I'll be in another state.
Oh, hope it's fun.
You want us to wait for you guys, or will Mr. Bay show it now?
Never mind, let's get into it.
Mr. Runnemede?
Yeah, it's always. All
Yeah.
Have fun.
The best for
First of all, I would like to let you know that we need a 10-minute closed session for personnel issues and contractual issues. I think I already said one thing, but say it again, and for the camera, admin@runnemede.org, or the button on the website, if you put questions and comments, I've been telling that to residents. Right now, I'm not saying to keep it there, it actually goes to my phone, so I do see them, within a reasonable period of time. Right now, we're not responding back to every request that comes in. That's something we worked out, but I am seeing every item that comes in, and we're trying to address it, so.
Ignores mine.
That's because I get like at 3 in the morning, does this thing work? How long will it take to respond?
No, I do not.
And when, and 15 minutes later, it says it goes to my phone.
Your voice mailbox is full, by the way.
Someone told me that this afternoon, it was not full yesterday, so I don't know what happened there.
It's not
Somebody,
me. It wasn't me.
I have one person that calls me, when they leave a message, they leave a 10-minute message, and it eats up a lot of the space.
Bad.
So,
It's not me.
it is not bad.
Not me.
Something I'm going to start next month, it's already an issue that we've talked about before, but I'm going to require it, that all department heads or an authorized by me representative will be at the caucus for at least the first half hour. So this, I do not want to hear again from a person, no one told me that that was on the agenda. We have a website, it's posted, that there's, for somebody to say they didn't know what was happening at the borough in the departments, I take exception. So that on top of reestablishing before the end of the year our weekly management meetings that will at least bi-weekly take place, so that we have a level of what's going on.
I thought you were taking money off.
Excuse me? So, also, it's something that I've taken on myself, and I've been talking with Keith, I think I've been talking with all of you, and I think the residents are all in favor, is an unofficial code enforcement push. We have a lot of rules that exist currently. We don't have to change them, amend them, or create new rules that are not being followed locally. For instance, you're putting out recyclables, a ton of them on Saturday afternoon. I mean, that's not even close. Things of that nature. And we need to be reasonable, because if we haven't been enforcing it for a year, then we can't expect people overnight to pick up on it, but we need to start to define them, giving them the
Just
letter.
repeat people.
Yes,
wit's that?
yes.
They're repeaters. They do it all the
So you're saying
time.
educate them first before we cite anybody? We're trying to-
Yes, you know what, to be honest with you, I'm going to use somebody as an example. I spent the last few days, I spent a lot of time at Public Works, and coming in and out of the gate, I noticed that one of the houses in the area had a lot of items, and they were all in regular trash cans, and as crazy as it sounds, the left side of the gutter is the front of the house, and the right side of the gutter is the side of the house. That's a code enforcement issue also. So I went down there before the meeting today, and we have 100 cans on the side of the building. I took 3 cans, I went over, I met the gentleman, I gave him 3 cans, and a wonderful story.
Recycling.
Recycling cans. he used to have 3 recycling cans. And about a year ago, somebody stole his recycling cans, his fire pit, and the bicycles that were on his lawn. And he called, he didn't say where he called, but he said he called and he asked for a new can, and that they told me he couldn't have one. And I have to be honest with you, don't shake your head, no. I would not be surprised if he was told that he could not have one. Now, we could have been out of them, you know,
I've only had very good experiences with the
so we've been doing a very good job with that.
We've been much
But-
better,
but it is very possible that that was the
previously
case.
that was not the case.
So he thanked me for the cans, he understands, and now we don't have to send the code enforcement officer over there. He, you know, we helped him work that out. I also believe that the people that share our noise and our trucks driving in and out and, you know, see our vehicles going up and down the street every day, you know, we should go the extra yard or mile to make sure that, you know, we get those issues worked out. So I think that's, I don't think they're more important than other residents, but they are putting up with the nuisance, for lack of better words. I mean, that's 3 in the morning when there's a call, the gate, the chains, the gate going open, the trucks coming in and out, so I can see that. So we're going to make sure that our neighbors know that we care too. So, signs, trash, recyclables, white goods, TVs, they're just, we have rules for when they should be out there. You know, we'll do our side of it, but the residents need to start doing their side. I'm not sure, I'm going to throw this one on the table and then back off from it. Vehicles, commercial vehicles, boats, trailers,
Well, don't we have an ordinance that they're not permitted to have trailers on the street to begin with?
I understand that. I'm just saying that I haven't even looked at that ordinance yet. It's just something that I noticed today, that there was a lot of trailers and boats, and one boat is half on the curb, half in the street, with a couple cones around it. Now, maybe that's just there for a couple of days, but if that's where it always is, you know, that's something that I realize that it's easy for me to say that, you have to deal with the residents, but it doesn't seem like it's compliant with the rules.
That's my boy.
I didn't say where it was.
I know where it is.
I have, see, I can say that,
I
I'm
will-
innocent.
I
I can
will
step on
tell
that landmine, because I'm
I
not,
will
I don't know.
tell him,
But-
I will tell him if we're not above all the problems.
No,
We
we're not
are
above.
not above it at all.
But I think that if
I'll
we take care of our sites, you know, and
That's-
then start asking the residents to take care of their sites, I am absolutely disgusted with the condition of Green Acres. But I think that it's an operational issue. We do individual tasks. We'll go down there and clean the bathroom, we'll go down there and cut the grass, we'll go down there and empty the cans. If you're there to cut the grass, you don't empty the cans. So Nick has already started writing some directives on the steps for employees to follow when we cut the grass. So it's slowly coming along, but we will re-engineer how we do these things so that we're not waiting a week for somebody to come back and empty the can again, because that doesn't make sense. Right now, we have an issue going on down there. I have not in 2 days been able to get a tech to come out because I think they misunderstood what our problem was. When the power went out at Green Acres, it reset the clock and the alarm. So the alarm, whatever time it was when the power came back on, thought that was midnight. So now every time a resident tries to go in and use the bathrooms, the alarms are going.
Oh,
So I was,
Silent.
oh, no, it's very, very loud, audible
Loud.
alarm.
oh, no.
And it goes off for 5 minutes and then it resets. But if you open the door again, the alarm will go off again. So I met Sergeant Murray down there, because when I was there, he just happened to be coming to follow up on the call that I got from the alarm company.
Mark, is that up in the attic or is that in the back room?
It's in the room. But the tech, they thought that the control panel, like when we go in the door here, that the lady asked me, what do you hear? I said, this was 2 days ago, I said, you hear an ear-piercing audible alarm on the exterior of the building. Somehow they mistook that for the keypad beeping. I don't know how. But I spoke with the senior person that sold us the system, and he understands now what the problem is, and they're going to send somebody out to address that. But in the meantime, we will get the calls, and the police department will get the calls every time
Has the
somebody goes
police
to the bathroom.
department been getting the calls?
Yes. In addition to that, the box at the entrance to Green Acre did not have a padlock on it, securing the on and off for the power at the facility, and somebody walked by and turned it off.
It
So
did have a lock at one point. I personally inspected that.
It was,
no, there is a lock on the bottom of the box, but the on-off switch did not have a lock, or else you wouldn't have been able to turn it off.
Is it
So there's been 2 locks.
Yeah, there are now 2 locks.
2 locks, I apologize.
Right,
I didn't
there is a lock
realize
at
that
the bottom, but the
the lock on the bottom kept
switch.
the cover from coming
I'm
out.
surprised it lasts this long without somebody.
You need a lock on the top.
or you can lock the switch. there's just 2 holes in the switch, right?
It's all squared away.
That's,
It
okay.
has a universal key,
Right.
so the same one that the emergency.
Anybody can-
and things of
Mr.
that
Wright,
nature.
how long will it take for this to be reset so the alarm doesn't keep going off?
Well, when the lady said, when would I like to schedule them to come out to do it, I said immediately, and it's been 2 days. But I did speak with the gentleman from the company this afternoon, and they are going to be back when they can get the tech to come out.
It wakes everybody up when they open the door.
And I will give the irony here is that we used to pay too much money for a company that was in North Jersey, and if they came out, they charged us $189. At least they came out, so. But I think there was a misunderstanding on the part of the vendor as to what the problem was, so I think that it will be resolved tomorrow. I guarantee it will be resolved tomorrow.
Okay, good.
There was no damage to the best of our knowledge related to that. And if the water level in the station had come up about another 3 or 4 inches, it would have set off the alarm, and the sewer department would have found out that it was not working. So they did cut the grass down to 3 acres. Safety and accountability are the issues that I'm pushing right now. I kind of writing up Friday is a JIF safety review on operations, and I have some ideas that we will handle internally.
Is this because of the report that was filed by JIF on our situation down there?
No, it's
Is
an
this in
ongoing
response
issue.
to that report?
This is part of getting them to work more efficiently.
It's an operational issue. We're basically, I have until January 1st. And we need to get our act in order down there, working closely with Nick, and we're bringing the guys along. Some, I question how we've trained. We're going to do retraining in certain areas, and for the camera, I'll say it right here now. We will teach them how to empty a trash can, if that's what it takes, but they will know how to do their job. And then if they don't do the job, then we're going to have to deal with that in a disciplinary matter. So everyone will be clear on what they have to do. And there's a couple issues. All the department heads, including the chief, went to a meeting with the JIF last month. They're stressing POSHA and compliance with the rules for buildings and things of that nature. So this is all part of that, so.
Okay.
But, and then, some. That's what started, kind of, between the trucks, when we had the issues with
Yeah,
the trucks.
I
and
knew
the
about,
gas.
I knew about all that.
Right. So with that said, I'm not going to get too far into it because I think at this point it's a closed session issue. I've been asked by my director to spend a little more focus on the administrator side, borough-wide, and less focus on the lower level accounting functions, that I have no problem doing, but I think that time well spent is better on the admin side. So we are looking at another arrangement in the future, similar to what we have with Barrington, to have an assistant treasury type function. And I just want to put that out there because I may request action at the meeting next week on a temporary appointment, and from the contractual point of view or whatever it is, that will be a closed session.
We want to explain the idea as a part-time person also.
Right.
Come in, do the bookkeeping, because when he's running around, we don't want, right now, I hope everyone realizes we're paying the bills better. I think everyone's hearing that, is everyone getting that the bills are better and things like that, so we have to do our accounting. But
And I think
that'll
that
suffer.
everyone is doing more with less. And to be clear, just so that everyone understands, these are not functions that the administrator or the CFO or the treasurer should be doing. But in a small town, when you have short staff, I have no problem being part of that process. I'm talking about preparing the deposits, posting deposits, doing entry level clerk 2 type journal entries, things of that nature. And again, I have no problem doing them. It's a question that there's only so many hours, and I'm really starting to push that upper limit on that. So I think that the return on that part-time position, it would likely be Mondays, the same day we already have the payroll and local. I think we'll pay big dividends. So, and that's all I have for now.
About best practices.
Oh,
I know,
now
now,
can we go back to that?
you want Mr.,
Yeah,
okay.
we do need to discuss that thing.
See, even though it's not on the list, I do remember.
It's on the agenda.
No.
It was the agenda. It was the only thing I requested to be on the agenda.
You were late on your request.
No, on Friday, I asked it to be on the
What is this,
17th.
best practices?
We'll get back to it.
Okay, thank you, Council President. I submitted my report in writing, we need to go over. It's been a very busy month, I'll try to keep this
possible. The emergency sewer repairs we had at Schisler Circle and Phillips Avenue, we've been letting that trench settle before we do the permanent roadway repair. It's time to get that done, especially before the snow gets here, so we'll be coordinating that effort.
Is there a projected date that I can get?
I'm getting a quote right now, and that's what we quote, we can go ahead with the emergency repair, but I'm hoping when they're paving Washington Avenue, that we can do the paving.
Perfect, okay.
That's
Right.
That's a good idea.
Should be within a week or two, I would say.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, you can.
On that, was this company, monitored?
SAR?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we had
Somebody
somebody
there,
there,
there, yes.
Okay.
Steve Bach was there quite a bit himself, and we had an inspector when Steve wasn't available.
Some of the concerns is the cost. Obviously, we understand we went out to bid, and we bid on this rate. And the council would say, well, how do we know that it was 500 hours?
We keep tabs on that, yes. And then regarding the infrastructure trust, last month, council decided to submit the letter of interest to DEP for your low-interest infrastructure trust loan. With the help of Rich Wright, we were able to get that loan, or the application submitted. The next step will be for us to coordinate with John Gunn and Pat Moriarty to try and prioritize which sewer mains we want to get slip line as a function of the age of the system, depth, if there's groundwork present, things like that.
What does this mean, this flip line?
Slip line, the old sewer systems, instead of replacing the pipes, we send a sock through the pipe and then you expand it with hot water. Then the hot water cures this pipe. It's a cured in place pipe that goes inside.
So it
the
won't
system.
break anymore?
Correct. And
Without thinking
Because
about
we're facing all these
Right,
bricks.
and that's, it's a more cost-effective system than having to rip out the entire sewer main, which we found out when we had to just do the 20 feet or 10 feet or whatever it was on just a circle, how expensive it gets.
Wow.
When you're digging.
What a mess, yeah,
Surface.
yeah.
So this is, you just slip line from manhole to manhole, and you don't destroy the existing system that's there.
And how will you determine which ones to do?
We're going to get together with John Gunn and Pat Moriarty and prioritize them. It's a function of how deep, because if the pipe's only 3 feet down, it doesn't make sense to slip line that pipe.
Right.
It's when they're deep,
20 foot like Sicily, yeah.
and if it's in an old neighborhood, that's a top priority. So we're going to get together with John and Pat and come up with a priority list.
Can you answer a question about that?
Yes.
How, if, let's say it's a 7-inch diameter, your slip line, how much does it decrease the diameter?
That's a quarter of an inch. What it takes on, when it's cured, it takes on the strength of a new pipe.
Okay.
Wow.
I just wondered.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So the deadline for getting all the design documents submitted to DEP is March 6th. So over the winter, we'll be doing all the design plans for that. And then the process, if we submit them to DEP, they approve it, then it goes out to bid in the spring, hopefully. If DEP's on board with all that. The municipal building side egress door, there's some punch list work, our architects were out. I guess Bob mentioned that, so that, along with the front door, there's some punch list items to take care of as well. It's missing some weather stripping, and I guess Joyce was getting the buzzer to go off when trucks flew by.
Yes,
So-
would open up and then.
So we'll get that resolved. The municipal aid application.
You won't be putting it for payment then this month?
The work's not done.
Well, that's why I agree, the work's done.
Correct.
If the work's done, if you put the paperwork in, it would close something out.
Okay. Municipal aid application for South Oakland Avenue, we got that submitted by the deadline of October 14th. The only thing I have to do is submit 3 original resolutions, which I've been coordinating with Joyce. We have 30 days to get that done, so that's no problem. The Bowers Avenue Road reconstruction and drainage improvements, we have the survey and base plans are now complete, and we're going to start with the schematic design on that.
Oh, we did approve you to go do that. I thought we didn't approve him to go start working on that, so we did.
Same with the bike path drainage improvement surveys done, base plans are done, we're kind of the schematic design for that. Washington Avenue, we've talked a little bit about that today. We have the change order, it's going to be a resolution for this coming week, and we also have a pay application one. Sorry for the inconvenience, but there's no way to replace curbs and driveways without inconveniencing your residents. One thing we could probably do is in the future, as a road's going out to bid, we might want to do something to let the residents know. Because right now, we only have, it's a 48-hour notification. The contractor lets the resident know 48 hours in advance. So there's something we might be able to do, or council or whoever, just to let the residents on that street know that it's about to be reconstructed. So that's something we can try.
Do other municipalities do that, like with the engineering department, maybe a week ahead of time, or really, it's tough?
Yeah, it's just, and that, I mean,
We've done a few phone calls.
it becomes a council decision whether you want to spend.
Has anybody got any complaints about?
If you could just sign up quicker.
Well, not every project has a sign. That's just because of the CDBG, it had a project sign. And the sign is, we put that on the contractor. So until the contracts are in order, we're not going to have them do any work. So it's something that council could consider in the future if you want to, or engineering committee if you
What's
want,
that?
just to notify residents.
Yeah, and just let everybody know if you're going down Washington, that where the signs located, that's that corner, we cut that out, we actually own 100 by 100. Right, it's in a regular shaped
It's a
lot.
triangle.
So it's something we ought to, when you're talking about properties throughout the town, that's something we want to consider at one point. It looks like there might have been something there, I don't know if anybody knew anybody on Washington, if there was anything there before. But the way the arborvitae were planted, no, because it looks like, but
That
that's
was always
something,
empty. I
Yeah.
don't remember anything, and I've been.
maybe we do something there, maybe a bench or something as simple as that, or you
Mark
can.
Diana wrote there.
Huh?
Chief Diana wrote there.
He was on Washington, no, you didn't say that.
And on the Borough Hall emergency generators, you can tell we're heavily in construction now. We already talked about pay application number 2 that's on next week's bill list. Beaver Branch Park, Tom Greenwald is supposed to be coordinating with the punch list on that. I haven't heard from him, he's been a little busy with the 11th road we have under construction right now, but I will follow up on that, because we want all that taken care of. I think there's still some trash out of the meters, so I will get Tom on that. The bathroom facilities were complete, so that's going to disappear from the status report next month. And under the public works garage, I gave Bev a sign to
It
the
has to be
post.
described publicly where
It
it
has
can be seen, so
right.
I'll have it attached to the
Right.
fence line.
And it just lets the public know that that is a contaminated site that's currently under remediation. There's a contact number for the LSRP, which is Pinoni, and there's also a contact information number for us. And that's a requirement by DEP when you do that, so.
We'll be up to, I'll send a note to admin at runnemede.org.
Any idea of money from the state on that?
We are looking into that, but I haven't heard anything from the lender yet.
Was Benoni doing that for us?
They're looking into seeing if there's any. And that concludes my report,
Thank you.
unless anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Lauren.
The only thing we're waiting on is Mr. Wright is printing out the best practices. And you remember, there's a checklist that the questions have already,
Last year.
yeah, the questions have already been answered
Is this every
every
year?
year, and the questions change.
Because
And
they-
he's obligated
really
to,
stay.
you can go, that's not a problem. If you have to go, you can go. As long as the majority's council's here, you guys can
Are
stay.
you okay staying, or are you gonna come?
You guys-
She has a meeting too.
Only if 4 of us, if you could stay, 4 of us is a majority. And then,
Let me know who's going to.
well, you get a copy of it. And what it does is, it's just, there's yes or no answer.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a policy. No, we don't have a policy.
I got it last year.
Yeah.
I know.
Just do it every.
And you'll get a read.
Same thing.
Mr. President, we have a hand raised.
Oh, we're not in the public portion yet.
Okay.
Okay.
That is the mayor?
She is not here.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, she's,
Excuse me,
she's not
ma'am.
here. No, that's fine.
Well, you know, we could do while we're waiting for Mr. Wright. Did you have anything, Joyce, or are we good to go?
I got a letter from Caucus, announcing that the Veterans Day luncheon will be held at the Philly Diner on Tuesday, November 11th at noon. He said that he is sponsoring this along with the Philly Diner.
Okay.
Very nice.
I'll put a copy in.
One of our officers just named Pat
There's no panic alarm here.
Buck right there?
Is Rich in his
The
office?
only one here.
Rich in the
Rich,
middle.
go check
Maybe
Rich.
No, council, right here.
No, it's over here.
Yeah, there's one.
Nobody's there.
Okay, no, we're open, this way we'll get moving. If you guys gotta go, I'm gonna open this to the public.
Coming out now.
Okay, this portion of the meeting is open to the public. Anyone wishing to speak, can come up to the microphone, state your name and address. Oh, he's late.
Ladies and gentlemen of the borough, my name is Charles Jess, reside at 837 Reed Avenue, Runnemede, New Jersey. And I am here this evening as a veteran of the United States, Navy, and basically I got a new pacemaker on 6/30. Had bronchitis prior to that. But my problem is basically, do you have any problems that are prior to 1955 that you haven't resolved yet? 1955, yes.
We just got rid of the chitney ordinance.
I wasn't here.
What can we
Well,
do?
most of you people weren't. And this gentleman over here is the person that is directed a lot of it to. At 837 North Reed Avenue, there's a connector between Oakland, Reed, and Orchard. And Police Chief Kessler, former Police Chief Kessler.
Sewer or storm?
We're talking stormwater,
Storm.
not sewer. When I came here to St. Teresa's in third grade, many, many years ago, that March, my third grade year, there was a flood that came through the Grossman's house and through my house. We could sit, it was about a half inch below the level of the underground, the basement, if you will. Grossman's didn't have one. That problem was supposed to have been realized, repaired by a contractor that Runnemede engaged in to fix the sewer problem perhaps 20 years ago or less. That individual was also an employee of Runnemede. So you had an employee and a contractor that were the same person, and I have a problem. The people, Mr. Hardy, who lives on Reed Avenue, Police Chief Kessler, Mr. Karbacki on Oakland, we have a severe water problem. I haven't been in touch with anyone else but you at this point, except Mr. Farrell, Bob Farrell. I talked to him and he basically looked at the problem. There was no specific.
Talk to me too.
Yeah. And given the time, you mentioned Triton High School earlier. Triton wasn't around in 54.
No,
was
they
it?
weren't.
No.
They weren't.
Well, basically taxpayers have been paying for that school for many, many years. And I have been one of them. My father has been another. Yet this problem has not been resolved. And you sit here looking at me saying, you know, what kind of problem could he have? Well, basically, when storm sewage backs up into your basement because of water, by the way, everyone has pictures of this. And as a point that you may look at, the Borough Fire Department sends a truck out every flood. I have seen the truck out there 4 times, so you're spending money putting that truck out there. Every single time. And you put in nice street lamps, you buy new police cars. Now, I am not the first one to sit in front of a council. You may not be here in January, I have no idea. I remember your dad, Mr. Root, right? I remember when I was a little kid in his school. Very, very nice man to me.
Not anymore.
Bless his heart, that's all right, everyone goes. But I can't sell my house. I pay taxes and I can't sell my house. Now, it is a bad market out there. My next door neighbor that probably Mr. Knight got in contact with and wrote up my thing saying I need to paint my house and fix concrete blocks out in front, the street walks. Those street walks have been that way for 60 years. But now they're a problem. Okay, that's interesting. I can see upkeep and maintenance on a house painting. There's no problem. And I had no problem with the concept of me selling my home and then, as part of the agreement, having the house painted. But now, the judge And Mr. Knight believed I should contact the Runnemede senior citizens to get them to change the concrete blocks and paint the house. But guess what? If that is done, I still can't sell the house. I've been in contact with 2 different real estate agents. People remember here Howard Aronson, his granddaughter is now there. I explained the problem to her, and she says, if you try to sell that house and they get a flood and it backs in there, they can sue you. Me, not Runnemede. I contacted in Mount Ephraim, right on Black Horse Pike. There's another agent there, Panero, I believe his name is. We sat and talked for an hour and a half about this. And he said, you have a real problem. You have to get Runnemede to fix those pipes. Now, we mentioned before, the contractor was an employee of Runnemede. Runnemede hasn't done anything since 1954. They put in a new pipe, an incorrect sized pipe, which can be ascertained through engineering that it is the wrong thing, set at the wrong angle. But guess what? I can't sell my house. I cannot get out of the burden of paying taxes to Runnemede for something that I don't have. Police Chief Kessler, everyone can believe him. He knows where the flood is. We have pictures, we have videos of this thing. And we're not even talking about the flood that comes from Wallfield in. That's a whole separate, discrete problem. This is another problem. We're just, forget the ballpark. Just look at Reed Avenue and Orchard Avenue in Oakland. That's a separate, distinct thing. As I said before, maybe I have to do this again next week, December, January with the new council, if that is. But I will continue to do it. Now, you can sit and think about that, and there have been other options put to me. Camden County, basically, if you have a judge that can sit and tell me to do something, there is a judge somewhere around that can sit there and tell me to do something. And if not a judge, there is a governor. Then there's the court of public opinion. Channel 10, Channel 29, Channel 6. If this gets out, that a 68-year-old man taking care of his 66-year-old retarded brother can't sell his house because they're not going to fix the pipes. That could be big national news. And Governor Christie's not going to like that. Because here's this, and now, we're not talking it's 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, over 50 years old. The same problem exists. Mr. Little used to sit here and come to these council meetings, and this is back 40 years ago. The Grossmans used to come out here.
Well, we appreciate it, and honestly, I know you've talked to a few members of council. Well, after the meeting, if you
Just
could
one.
stay, if you could stay for a few minutes, so
Certainly.
we'll get your information again.
I'll be late as
This
I can.
council has, just let me, this council, as you, I think you hopefully can ascertain, we are very aggressive to get things done. We try to get things, there's a long, long list of things that need to be done in
This
this.
poor gentleman's got most of the problems, no offense to everybody else. He's got more work to do than all the rest of you combined. Isn't that true, sir? Thank you. Sorry.
But what we have to weigh out is, we do hear, we do listen, and we are trying to get things done.
And we all know that that's an issue now.
As
all know
we,
that.
and it's always about money, you do know it's about money, just like that, so.
I've been paying taxes for, I've been paying taxes for 24 years.
Well,
We
as
appreciate
My
it.
parents have
we all
been,
have been.
Yes.
Patty's been here lifelong,
Well,
Evelyn's been here.
but they're children.
Okay,
No.
what we'll do is, if you don't mind, after the meeting, we'll talk for a few minutes. I'm aware of this problem, just like we are aware of the problem on Oakland Avenue, we're aware of.
On Orchard.
In Orchard, we're aware of a lot of these things that we're trying to get done. This evening, if you saw, the engineer was talking about it, we were actually trying to fix that water problem that's happening.
There was a different area. It wasn't my area.
But I'm sure the people who live on that street feel just as concerned about their properties as you feel about yours, so we're doing our best to get everything done. But stay for a few minutes afterwards, we'll be done.
We were thinking about the problem. We're well aware of it.
As I said, we have pictures.
I have
That's-
pictures. I'm in charge. I spoke to you on the phone before Bob spoke to you. I'm the one that got Bob to come down and try to talk to you. I spoke to you.
You're quite a woman.
I spoke to you on the phone. I have pictures of people waist high in water down there, so.
It wasn't quite
I
that
get it.
deep, but
Well,
it was-
They were kids.
But basically speaking,
Short kids.
talking to this gentleman,
Okay,
You know-
if you guys can go, please go. I know you guys.
water comes down, that's a square little thing. Well, that's 7 inches below water.
Thank you.
Above.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Can I just say something publicly? Can I make a comment?
Why don't you let me,
You know, it's directed to somebody here. Val, I want to apologize for the situation that occurred with the seniors one night at the play. So the bus did not make it on time, and the seniors did manage to get there, but I just want it to be publicly, I want you to know that I apologize for the fact there was a miscommunication. So,
It was just a
and that's all it was, but they did get there and they had a good time.
Yes, they did.
All right,
And it was a good play.
thank you.
anyone wishing to speak? Public portion? Mr. O'Leary, you want to close? Okay, do I have a motion to close the public portion?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Public portion is closed. Okay, we're back to Mr. Wright.
We're gonna have to share it because the copy came 3 times and I decided.
Ms. Moore, you want to come over here?
Yeah, I'm good.
Really?
Where we are.
Ms. Moore's letting him sit next to me.
You know what? I can use the computer, we're good. Mark, you
Enough?
don't get it anymore.
There's only 4 of us.
That's it.
That's it.
So we're gonna be close.
Okay, want to run through it?
Yeah, I will start at the end. We're required, this is the best practices checklist each year. I will say this, there are some items in here that don't apply to us, there's some items in here that don't even make sense as to saving money, but it is the checklist that they require. You're not required to get 100%, so, you know, if we choose not to have 1 or 2 items because it makes sense for us not to, then we still have some other areas to make it up. Our score was 82%, which means that there's no penalty. The penalty would be 5% of your last state aid payment, which is the smallest. I believe the last time we looked, the number was around $5,200. So if you look at it globally, if you're saving 10 times that much, you know, then where is the best practice on some of the issues?
You're still public image.
I understand that. It's just, it's funny, that one of the, case in point, one of the questions is, do you have a policy that allows for opting out of insurance?
Yes.
And then it says, is that policy allowed for non-contractual employees? And I believe that it is here.
Yes.
Well, to them, that's a negative. Now, you put a perspective, we'll address it in future years, so you can get it to be addressed in the future. But to them, everyone should do the right thing, and since they can get insurance through their spouse, then they should just not accept our $5,000, and they should not use our benefits. In a perfect world, that makes sense. But the bottom line is that the incentive that we give, if we pay somebody $5,000 to be on their spouse's coverage for family, we're saving $21,000 for the borough taxpayers. So now maybe they don't like that because it might be a teacher that's on the state health benefits plan, it's paid for at the state level, or maybe it's a corporate that has nothing to do with government. But the bottom line is that that's an area where they view it as a negative. You know, so that's just one small example. That's my pet peeve of the checklist this year.
You can
But,
let's go. For 5,000.
there's,
I am on.
everyone has a copy.
Number 1.
Basically, we have shared services, and we've increased our shared services this year. We have traffic safety policies, which the chief who stepped out reviews. You know, we don't have officers on overtime directing traffic in a dead end. I mean, so we follow the practices. We don't have any management getting comp time or overtime regarding this issue. As a perspective in the past, we've corrected those issues based on the previous checklist. Do we have a vehicle use policy prohibiting personal use? Yes, we do. We also.
Why is that in red?
Right, that was my question.
The way that this works, if you go to the last page, since you're going to go for the.
Oh, there's different, okay, sorry.
Basically, items that are on your checklist that are in red are repeat questions you can't answer perspective. Blue items are questions where not applicable nor NA are permitted. Green questions, you cannot use perspective or not applicable. So basically, it's just the question.
Okay.
The newer ones, you can say next year we'll do that.
So the yes is the.
You're supposed to do it, but, so I will say the color. So red, we have a vehicle use policy. All of our employees are using them for business purposes. The people that take them home.
So there's no
They're
guarantee.
marked trucks, it's not like, as the administrator, I don't have it for personal use, and I'm not even saying to respond back, but just some contracts you get just to use.
Yes,
You would have to put that taxable per.
but he's not allowed to drive it personally, and if he was driving it personally, it would become a fringe benefit.
Right.
You have to pay the
Right,
taxes on
so
it.
they want to make sure you're following the IRS rules, we
Yeah.
have policies in place for all that, so we're good there. Basically, has the appropriate administrative official reviewed the state comptroller's June 25th, 2013 report for legal fees? Do we follow best practices outlined in that and in the act? And we are best practices, we basically do follow that process. That was agreed. Do we maintain up-to-date municipal website? Yes, there's issues from time to time, but the general RFPs are on there, the minutes are on there, the other departments are on there, so basically that's a yes.
And I think we ought to budget more for this next year. I think this is a meeting that we need to.
Right.
I mean, almost double.
You know, I had a conversation with the chief, and he said that the chief, the previous chief on the website, I said, have you requested that we change that? And he said, no. And he said, well, why haven't you done it? And I said, well, I was thinking about doing it at 1 a.m. after I worked on your time off, but I said, I didn't have a chance. He said, okay, so he knows now, if he wants to change, we'll just send it to him.
Yes.
Do we require elected officials to attend an annual basis, one instructional course that includes ethics? And I marked that a yes because we do the mandatory JIF training, and they have an ethics component there. So it has been brought to my attention that it would be a good practice to pass a resolution basically stating that you guys require you to do that at a minimum, but that could be something we.
Well, I will say, I haven't suggested this to the members because I know everybody's busy, but when I first got on council, I took the whole entire, that course that Rutgers had, and got certified in different things.
You're an overachiever.
I am an overachiever, and I had a lot of free time. It was mostly Saturdays, if you remember, you go on a Saturday and you spend 3 or 4 hours in Hamilton, New Jersey, or Hamilton, it was kind of funny. And Katz, I think she went to a couple. And they're very positive. You get one of the best things is meeting other council people and talking to them. But I think that's what they're getting at, exactly, planning board members to go be educated in what we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Especially if you're a finance director, learning finance. If you're, in charge of contracts, learning and understanding contracts. Sorry about that.
That's good. Number 7, regarding deer contracts, have 2% increases in them. We have negotiated all of them, even the ones that had 3% was for 18 months, so it averaged out to 2%. So that is a yes. It's also red, so you can't put perspective on that. Number 9 is an NA, and I'm happy we move forward on that. That has to do with your assessed valuation, and we did a reval. We are definitely much higher than 65%, so we're good there. Number 10 is the financial disclosure forms for 2014, and the answer was yes, everyone.
Yes, everybody voted.
Now, that's a funny one. That's another one of those ones where they tell us that we have to notify them that all the officials have to fill it out, but we're not supposed to police them or monitor them. We're just supposed to tell them to go and do it. But yet, if one of them doesn't do it, then you can't answer yes to this question. So it's.
I think other municipalities have put some measures in to
Right.
force their
Right.
people to do these. If you don't, for example, if you don't file, you get suspended from the planning board.
Right. Now, this is something, just in general, I mean, I basically mark the ones that we want to address going forward and that are important to me. Maybe we want to, at the beginning of the year, just look at anything that we want to change for 2015 globally that might not be a finance issue, but I will keep it moving. We don't have any authorities, so that's an NA for number 11. Basically, there's a couple things that we will be looking forward to do next year with our new finance committee. Number 12 is a no. Basically, we don't have an audit committee that meets quarterly regarding finances. We discuss it on a regular basis, but I couldn't answer this question yes. I mean, we talked about it after the exit conference at the audit last year. We discussed things since then, but it's never an official meeting that we could say.
So to get yes, we just have to have a quarterly meeting on finances?
Yes, again, it's one of those things where we're doing it, we're improving it, but we need to have an official meeting, at least quarterly, and document it. Same thing with, we go over our budget reports and things of that nature, but we should have an official transmittal at least quarterly, so it's officially accepted in the minutes. So, and that's a good practice. We should do that monthly. Something again for 2014 we're looking forward to. Is your municipality marketing bond and note sales beyond publishing it says, are you going beyond the minimum required by the statute? Are we putting out an official statement and going to the market for a note sale? And the answer to that is no, because the cost of doing that would exceed the benefit, and we'll continue to put no on it. We're getting good rates when we're rolling our notes, and eventually we'll be in the next, I would say within the next year, at some point in time, we will be going permanent, and we will be doing the official statement and the whole movie install, the towing show, and things of that nature. But they're asking us if we go beyond what's minimally required, and the answer is no. The finance committee, we have one, and I couldn't give a date for the last meeting, so that.
Company is?
I theoretically could have, but if I was challenged on it, I couldn't tell them what the date of the meeting was, so I wasn't on that. I mean, again, we had enough extra points in there that I didn't need to try and push the limit there.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Keep asking. Can we get the list at the beginning of the year so we know what we should be trying to do? It's like studying, you know, if you tell me what the questions are.
It comes out in, what, about September, August or September, June?
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago.
Right.
it came out.
So
And
they
there's
know,
new questions, because then you can put perspective if you're not doing what it is, so that going forward, you should address these issues. So we've addressed items in the past that we had to address, but, and yes.
well, you can put yes, and we've met several times.
I couldn't tell you what the date of the last meeting was. I was going to put that in there. So I understand what you're saying. Yes, we had meetings and we discussed issues related in the comments, but I didn't have a date and notes for the meeting. So, you know, going forward, that's a simple solution to get a yes next year. We have repeat audit findings, which there are less, but we still have them. And hopefully with our personnel issues that we were talking about earlier, that will assist in getting a yes there next year. Sometimes it takes 2 to 3 years, even after you implement the corrective action, to get the news, because by the time the audit's done and you address it, you're still into next year. Grants. We have been, over the past 3 years, it's something that the finance director has pushed. We've gotten our significant reimbursements back from the state. We got our Green Acres, $500,000. We got our EIT loans, $300,000. These were all receivables that had issues, whether we had to sit down for a half a day with engineers to iron out all the open items, all of them, and things of that nature. There, you know, that money, you know, over the past 2 years has all been received. We have a couple of grants out there still that we're working on. We're up to date now with all of our safe and secure grants. And those items, they can't close out this year until last year was closed out, so we had to come forward with all of them. So we've been doing the steps, but we don't have a yes on that one yet.
which one are you, 717?
This is the grant in 17. So basically.
Well, do you think the grant, remember we had to interview the grant writer, do you think that is a service that they could provide to help?
No, that is not.
They would do
This
the
is-
billing, that's not a,
This is internal.
it's an internal issue.
And again, all of the grants are not handled by finance. They're handled by departments. They have other people involved, whether it be the engineers, the police department, council people, the road department, so depending on what grant it is.
Okay.
The court, some of them are as low as $800. So I don't see that as being a major item. It's not impacting our cash flow, and we're definitely collecting this due.
Because it's something we push back, because we really have the money, because it's new, but if we, now we have a full year.
Right, the grant writer has nothing to do with what there is.
But I mean, in January, we revisit the idea of having someone do the grants.
Actually, I just attended a League of Municipalities webinar for an hour and a half on grants. And one of the people that was dealing with it was from the company
That we met with,
that we met with.
or is his name Triad?
Right. And so,
Yeah.
we could.
Because Gloucester City had been introduced, and they were very successful, so
Okay.
maybe next year. 18?
Our audit is being wrapped up now, so that is perspective. The audit is due, again, playing catch up, we're further ahead than we were in prior years, but the deadline for the audit is June 30th. And they're wrapping up items now.
We're on
So we were at the end of December last year, so we're going to be early November this year, so we're making progress on that.
So June next year.
Thanks. Number 19, we had no grant-related question costs or other funding. So yes, we're the proper answers for the next two questions. Our annual debt statement was filed timely. That was a yes. The next one is regarding local finance notice 1409, which is information about the need for municipalities to have outstanding debt to abide by requirements to annually disclose certain information with respect to financial conditions. We are working, this is a major SEC issue right now in municipalities, especially in New Jersey. When we do our notes, we have, the bank basically handles this for us. They do all the disclosure information. They were not locally in the state of New Jersey being done properly, and the SEC has made this a major issue. They're supposed to be filing, when the audit is done, they have to file, when the budget is done, they have to attach them. They go to a website, it's a clearinghouse, so that somebody who wants to know what's going on in the municipality, they can go there. So it's something that we sub out, but there's an issue statewide with that. I put perspective because we're still reviewing it and working with bond counsel and the auditor to make sure that there's other items that, basically, it's a definition issue. Did we file our audit and have it attached? Yes. Did the bank go back and do it all in January for prior years? Yes. But the fact that they didn't file it the prior year may be an item that needs to be disclosed also. So there's, it's a Pandora's box that requires technical advice, and I'm not getting into it here. I put perspective, it'll be done next year. Again, same question, are you fully up to date perspective? Item number 23, have we adopted a pay play ordinance in accordance with 40A 1151? Per the municipal clerk, that answer is no at this point. Item number 24 is an NA. It's dealing with the changing energy markets. Camden County does our bids for joint purchases. They do electric, they do paper products, things of that nature. So we don't do that individually. We don't have some.
We bought our gas through one of these co-ops, didn't we?
Correct. So Camden County basically does it for the entire county, and then they have a co-op bid and piggyback off of that. Similar to the solar and the other stuff that they do. Local Finance 2013-17, the purchasing goods and services with P-cards. We are not, they're like a credit card only for municipality authorized to a person. We don't have the time, the staff, or the energy to do this best practice. We're not getting involved with them. The answer is no, and we'll continue to do that. So we don't get a point for that one. Sandy integrity monitor law, we didn't have any Sandy aid. That's an NA for us. Professional service contracts, are we complying with the local public contracts law? The answer is yes. Budget presentation. Do we have a written policy for a goal amount of surplus available in support of municipal operations? And is this goal annually evaluated? I think we evaluate this quarterly. We do not have a written policy on the amount, so I think it's a no. It's not available for perspective. It's simple to write that policy.
These be resolutions, ordinance, what would they
An
be?
ordinance stating that we will not have a surplus greater than X percent. If we need to change that, we would take a two-third vote of council. It doesn't, you need to have a policy, right? That's something that we can do going into next year. Our budget projections factoring the current year budget, future tax levies, we do a 4-year look back and we do a 2-year look forward when we do our budget. So the answer to that is yes. We don't just look at the current year, we look at how it's going to impact us going forward. Number 30 is an NA. It's talking about guaranteed debt. That's a county issue. We don't guarantee debt for other entities. To perspective, we have the elected officials receive a written, and it's important to say because it's underlined and bolded. It says written status report, at least quarterly, on budgets and revenues. We have conversations on them. I give verbal reports. We do not have a written report on that. That is something that I would like to see going forward this way, that there's no question. I want the department heads to be looking at them also. They have access, but I want to actually have them see their report. That could be something that we discuss in that first half hour at the caucus is going forward. In our multi-year capital plan, are we dedicating sufficient revenues to fund maintenance, repair, and replacement of infrastructure such as roads, storm sewers, and sanitary sewers and water systems? I think the answer to that question is yes, but it's basically a priority system. You can plan it, but you can't fund everything in 1 year. And tax rates could hold that up.
I think we gotta do
a plan.
We gotta do a better statement on our, the budget statement.
Right.
We don't do a very good job on that. That opening statement where the,
Correct. Right.
beginning of our budget,
Capital
goes to
outlay, if you go to the 40s in the budget sheets, it does tell you globally the things that we're investing in over the next three years. But I think that the budget message could be
Yeah.
expanded. There's extra pages that you can put in there, you're correct. The next few are perspective, they're timing, and again, that has to do with the personnel changes that we're going to be talking about. Did we introduce our budget no later than February 10th? And the answer to that is no. The director did extend it. We do much better than last year, but it was still enough. So that's perspective. Calendar municipalities adopted budget no later than March 20th. So the one was introduced and the other one was adopted. We did not adopt by March 20th for the extended deadline. It was set by the director. So the answer to that is perspective going forward. Also, and I don't think you would get a yes unless there was an extreme situation. If you did not adopt on time, you have the ability as a council to request that the director of local government services give you an extension. And if you don't have a really good reason, the answer is going to be no. So, but there is a mechanism. You can have a reason that requires that. Going into health insurance, number 35, the answer is, does your municipality exclude from health care coverage part-time and elected and appointed officials? And the answer is yes, with the exception of the contractual employees that are grandfathered. At 30, we do, so we're okay there. Do we conduct a monthly review of all health benefits coverage for employees to make sure that we don't have any ghost employees or deceased employees? The answer is yes. Bruce gets that on a monthly basis. I review it and go over that. So that's done monthly. I put NA on number 37, and it's basically talking about utilizing a broker to ensure health coverages. We're part of the joint insurance fund, so that's not applicable to us. State Health Benefits Program number 38 offers medical, prescription, and dental coverage options for more than 850,000 participants. All plans have substantial networks and healthcare providers who provide services nationwide. 62% of municipalities and 35% of counties in New Jersey participate. If your municipality has non-state health benefits coverage, as your collective bargaining agreements come up for renegotiation, do we have provisions allowing for them to be switched to the state health benefits plan? And the answer to that is yes. The next question, I put perspective, and it's basically, this is one that I was talking about. It says, have we eliminated the opt-out provisions from non-contractual employees? And the answer is no. I put perspective. We'll have to address that and see if we want to create a policy that says that if my wife had coverage, instead of paying for my benefits, would it make sense for you to let me opt out? The answer would be yes. If you follow this rule, you say no, be a good guy and just go on her benefits anyway, and there's no incentive. So it kind of defeats the whole purpose of the concept, but we're almost done, folks. Fair Labor Standards Act, the federal law regarding minimum wage. The law requires overtime pay must be paid for all hours over 40 hours in a work week, except for management employees, basically. Then it's asking, do we basically exclude management employees from overtime and comp time? And it includes off-duty assignments in the language itself. And the answer to that question this year is yes. That was an item that was a perspective in the past year. We're in compliance with that. All of our contracts were filed with PERC, so the answer to that question is yes. Number 42, do we provide to the public free of charge, either through looking at documents or through the internet, salaries of personnel? And the answer to that is yes. It's usually done through an email request, and then we electronic or paper record keeping, we don't just wing it. I don't understand the question, and I guess that means there's municipalities that just assume you work 40 hours. We have time sheets, even if you don't like it, they're manual, we have time sheets, they're reviewed by the supervisors, they're reviewed by me, and that's how the employees are paid. So the answer to that question is yes. Has your municipality instituted a policy to not compensate employees for sick leave accumulated after a certain date? The answer to that question is yes. We do not have a policy to compensate our employees. We've never monetized sick time when people leave. That's very rare in government. It's poorly worded, but the correct answer to that is yes, we do have a policy for that because our policy is we do not pay for it. Does your municipality have a transitional duty problem, like program like duty? The answer to that is yes. Our ordinance contains a 6-week like duty. We have a problem with the next two.
Yes.
They're basically, I don't know how we get around this when it's
How do we
contractual.
make a copy of this and send it to all employees in
Actually, basically, there are workers' comp provisions provide that the employee is paid at their regular rate. And it's the same way with the next question for disability. So they're not paid just the amount of.
Why don't you read this out loud?
State workers' compensation law provides that when an employee receives a work-related injury producing temporary disability, the employee is entitled to wage continuation equal to 70% of the employee's weekly wages, subject to maximum compensation as determined by the Commissioner of Labor. Does your municipality limit benefits for work-related injuries to the above statutory benefit?
And the answer is?
The answer is no.
The answer is no.
I answered it perspective because when our contracts are up this year, we will address it because I think that this requires us to address it. But I can't guarantee you we would have a successful.
To make it clear to everyone, we pay everybody 100%.
Right.
And then get reimbursed at 70%. So there's no incentive for the employee to come back regardless of his injury. And it is something that is a problem. It's a term that we call major illness in the Borough of Runnemede, which is unique to the Borough of Runnemede. And it causes a lot of stress on our finances. And the same for the disabilities, exact same.
The weekly benefit rate, yeah, the next one's the same, that's also perspective. Has your municipality adopted an ordinance, resolution, regulation, or policy eliminating longevity awards, bonuses, or payments for non-union employees? And the answer to that is yes. We have capped it based on a certain hire date, management doesn't get it, and prior contracts have taken that out in other bargaining. For any employee covered by a collective bargaining agreement, has your municipality eliminated, has your municipality adopted or updated an employee personnel manual handbook by resolution or ordinance within the last 5 years? And the answer to that is yes. I didn't, and that was number 50, by the way, so we're done. We're supposed to put the date on that, Joyce. They may ask us that for a follow-up. I didn't have the date in the worksheet.
Which one are you talking about?
Number 50 for when did we update our policy manual last? It was probably within the last year. So basically, at 24 yeses, 9 noes, 7 nays, 10 perspectives out of 50 answered. Our score was 41. Gave us 82%, 0% withheld.
What's passing?
40.
So it is required, folks, just so you understand why we went through this, we are required to discuss this at a public meeting with council. This has to certify that we held this at a council meeting. So we've got number 51.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
Closed session.
Okay, we're going to go into closed session for 10 minutes.
Right, you don't need.
We don't need.
Thank you, sir.
So, we need a motion to go in closed
I
session.
make a motion to go.
And we're not going to do any business after we come back. So what we're going to do is, you told something and we're going to leave.
I make a motion to go into closed session for 10 minutes,
That's going to be fun.
for 20 minutes,
20 minutes.
and then not come back.
For contractual items and personnel.
Okay.
Trash
You got to leave a little early. Let's go. Have a second?
All right.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, we're in closed.